My name is Gloria Ellis. I'm part of the digital team here at REINZ, and a former agent, and admin. So I've been in the real estate space for quite a long time, and so I can sort of here to answer some of the sort of more real estate-y questions, perhaps. So really where the local suburb guides came to be was that REINZ saw a gap in what we offer to our members in terms of agent digital marketing. And thus the Local Suburb Guides came about. So it's basically a collaboration between REINZ and ActivePipe/Home Preso. So they're accessed through our statistics platform and powered by REINZ data. But the beautiful sort of workings and presentation all come from Home Preso/ActivePipe. So we'll kick off this webinar today. We've got Kylie, who's the head of research at ActivePipe/Home Preso, and she'll sort of be talking about some of the amazing reasons you would be using these. And then we've got Nathan, who's the product owner at Home Preso. So he sort of deals with all the techie stuff. So if you want to take it away, Kylie.
Hey everybody, lovely to be here. I'm Kylie Davis from ActivePipe. So what I want to cover, we're going to look at how engaging buyers and sellers with REINZ Local Suburbs Guides, because there's no point creating a suburb guide if you're not sure how to use it or it's just another thing for you to do in your day. These things need to have purpose, and their purpose really should be about growing your business and growing your listings. So this is what we're going to cover off in today's webinar. We're going to look at the latest research into buyer and seller behaviour, and we're going to look at what top agents do and what their performance is, and so that we can copy what we're seeing in the research that they're doing. We're going to look at the information that from the research we're seeing buyers and sellers really want to know, and we're going to explore how that builds trust. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the Local Suburb Guides in case you haven't seen them yet, or to help you understand the thinking that went into them so you can see why they look and have the information in them that they do. And then we're going to look at some advanced digital marketing tips, because the fabulous thing about the Suburb Guides is yes, you can definitely print them out and hand them out, but they also have a really cool digital component that you can use as part of your Facebook or social media marketing, and certainly as part of your website marketing. So let's kick off. The first thing we need to do is to put ourselves into the minds of how property buyers and sellers behave. Like if we can think like a property buyer and seller, we can actually target our communication and the information we supply to them better. Now, in some brand new research that hasn't quite come out yet, I'm working on the white paper right now, we can see that 59.7% of those that we surveyed, they start their property journey by researching online. Now, these numbers don't add up obviously to 100 because we're quoting from different sections of the report, but about 60% start researching online, and then another 37% will start to speak to an agent. Now, some of them will do those two things together, but the first point that we ask them, what do you do first? Most people, two out of three people will go to online before they go to you as an agent. Interestingly as well, about a fifth of them will talk to family and friends. So obviously, the bank of mum and dad, or the resource of mum and dad, asking them their opinion on property. That's one of the first things they do. And what we found in this research is that about 62% research of sellers or potential sellers research for about 2 months before they list. So what this tells you is that you need to have information available out there that people are going to look for and identify with you before you can expect them to pick up the phone, or before you can expect them to reach out to you specifically. There needs to be kind of like a general environment of information that you're sharing, and that needs to be available for several months before you can expect them to actually be a really warm lead and to want to talk to you. What do they want to know? Well, look, you guys probably already know this. You get asked it every single day, but these are the common questions that they want to know. What's interesting, though, is that a lot of agent marketing doesn't answer it. So here are the questions. How much did that house up the road sell for? How much did my neighbour's home go for? I know it was on the market. I can see the sold sign, but what was the price? Is it a good time to buy or sell right now? Or what's going to happen soon? How do I know what's going to happen soon? How do you know what's going to happen soon? How's the local market performing? How long is it going to take me if I'm thinking of selling? How long is it going to take me to sell right now? Is this area a good investment? If this area is not a good investment, what area is a good investment? And how much are houses like mine selling for? I saw that the place up the road sold for X amount, but that's a 3-bedroom and I've got 4 bedrooms. So how much could I expect to receive more than that 4 bedrooms? These are all really common questions, and I'm 100% sure that you've been asked them every single day. The question is really, do you have it set up in your marketing and your online sites and your social media that you are answering these questions and making it really easy for buyers and sellers to find the answers to these questions through information that you're sharing so that they relate it back to you? Now, what we find in our research, is, I'm just going to pop myself out the way because I'm in the way of my own slides, is that agents who answer these questions and provide information that verifies the research, then the buyers and sellers, if it verifies the research that buyers and sellers have done on their own, because you can't stop people researching to find out answers to these questions in environments away from you. But if what you provide them backs up what they have also found out for themselves, then what happens is that builds trust an awful lot faster, and that helps you stand out amongst competitors. So the reason I've shared this is because what I hear a lot is that, well, I don't want to share information because people will question me on it. That's great. What they're looking to you when they're questioning you on the data is they want you to demonstrate that you understand it better than them and that you can explain what's going on to them. But what we find is that when the data actually that they've seen either on the telly or in the newspaper or in media that they're reading is backed up by the information that you're giving them, then that really does a huge job in building that trust. And then they immediately feel like they want to do business with you sooner. This helps you really create a great impression. And this is what we saw when we asked people, what makes sellers choose their agent? Well, 61% of people that we surveyed who were in the market to sell wanted to use an agent that they had used before. So whether that was like 3 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, they still really wished that they could, even if they couldn't, they still wished they could use someone that they had used before because they didn't want to go through that speed dating again. If they couldn't do that, and they were looking to assess an agent, 24% just went with you because they liked your vibe. Like they thought you were trustworthy. They felt that you were informed about the market. They thought you felt like a good person. 22% were looking for people that had good word of mouth reputations, so that they'd heard good things about you from either family or friends. So that instructs you on how important referrals are. And 21% because they could see from your past results that you had got great results and that you were a great performer in the local market. Now, obviously, if you've got all of these things going on, then you don't need to just choose one of these things that you're going to be great at. You should actually be looking to be as good as many of them as you can. But what we found is that when all of these things are in alignment, it makes it really easy for people to choose you as the agent and that they're going to sell through. And also it means that they're going to want to give you all their business, not just this current sale. So it's not just like a wham bam, thank you ma'am, with one sale. It's actually when I come to sell again, I'm going to come back to you. And also on the back of this too, when you're dealing with buyers on the other side, if someone who buys a property from you, they're going to be the person who's going to probably sell next. So if they've also found that you've had this great reputation as they've been dealing with you, they also become sort of a lead in the bank. Now, also, it's really interesting to look at, well, why didn't clients go back to the agent that they used previously? What was their thinking behind that? Because if we can understand that, then we can really understand what agents are doing wrong in long-term relationship building. Now, 36% of those that we surveyed sadly said that they'd got pretty poor service, so they weren't going to go back to them. 27.3%, so over a quarter of the people that we surveyed said they couldn't actually remember the name of the agent. Now, that might be because they're very old and it was 20 or 30 years ago, who knows? But basically the agent had made so little impression since the time that they'd sold that they couldn't remember who it even was. And 10.6% said they wouldn't use the agent because they'd never stayed in touch with them, so why on earth would they? They didn't want to have a relationship with, the agent didn't want a relationship with them, so why would they want to use that agent again? So that was a specific reason. So 10% of people that we surveyed said, no, if you're not going to stay in touch with me, I'm never going to consider you. So this all talks to the importance not of just of great service, but of staying in touch with clients when you have offered a great service, and staying front of mind with them over the longer term. Because here's what we know in real estate that not contradicts, but basically questions something that we've been told for a really long time. It's not about the agent with the most listings who wins. What we're seeing now through the research is that this is a bigger, longer term game. It's the agent with the most relationships who wins. So if you can prospect for relationships rather than listings, you're not only doing the behaviour that puts a potential listing into the bank for right now, but you're actually putting them into the bank for next in 2 months' time, because they're in that research phase, or 6 months' time, or 12 months' time, or even 3 or 4 or 10 years' time. You really want to be creating your reputation in the market to make sure that when the time comes that the person is ready to sell, then you're the one that they think of. So what we see from this research is that this means that you need to scale how you build relationships, and you need to create processes around that. And we're really passionate around that at ActivePipe, because we think our software really, the platform really helps you to do that, to stay in touch with people and to give them customized information now, and based on what they're really trying to get achieved now, whether that's buying or selling, and then also keeping them in the loop for longer term without you having to run around and make 100 calls a day, because you cannot do all of this stuff in this way any longer, only on your mobile phone. Your mobile phone should be used for actually closing deals and doing that personal connection, solving problems, really one-to-one communication. And we're going to cover that off in a little bit. And relationships are not just about what you need to get out of that relationship right now. Relationships are long-term investments where you stay in touch and you're providing information that's useful longer term. So it's about staying in connection with past clients, because what we saw is that 61% would rather do business with an agent that they've done again. So if you can get that right, then basically you've got 60% of every sale that you're doing right now coming through as a lead for the future. So how did the REINZ reports that we've created build relationships? Well, they do that in a couple of different ways. They help you share your market knowledge and answer key questions about how the market is performing, because what we saw from the research earlier is that even just local neighbours are really curious about what's going on in the local market. It helps you attract attention, and it builds awareness about your expertise. So these reports come out once a month, and basically that helps you put a spot in your diary or in your assistant's diary that says, okay, once a month we're going to do an activity that is going to share information about our local market, and we're going to demonstrate our expertise by making that available through either open houses, or as people come into the office, or I'm going to use it as part of my door knocking, or I'm going to use it as part of my digital marketing. So it gives you that option to do it as a handout for opens, and it certainly gives you lots of content for digital campaigns. You can easily create 4 posts a month out of the content that's coming out of the reports. And you can change the photo on the cover. In fact, I really do recommend that you do, so that it reflects your local area. You can have a photo of yourself in the local area. You can do whatever you like, as long as you've got a photo for it and it's saved as a JPEG, you can upload it. So what information do we find inside in the reports? Well, first of all, we've got like a little visual representation of the area, or a map of your area, and the address and the date of the sale, and the amount that it sold for. Now, it's important that the date of the sale there is a really important part, because it helps people understand, well, when that sale actually happened. So if prices are really galloping along and the data's a little bit behind, you can actually have a conversation with people when they say, why did it sell for that much? I would have thought it would sell for more. If you can basically relate it back to the date. We have this little summary of statistics, which is really helpful in just giving you just like that quick snapshot as to what's going on. It tells you about the time on market, it tells you about the total number of sales, the median price, and the increase in the median price over the past 12 months. So it's always a rolling 12 months. There's also a rental snapshot, so an investor information. You can see the median sales price information over time. Over time is obviously important because it shows how the market, where the market's headed. And even if the market's headed down, that's a conversation point as to why. You know, there's never ever, I used to get asked when I was at News Corp, because I used to be head of real estate editorial across all of the news publications, is that, well, we don't want to show people graphs if they're going down. That's terrible. It's like, but here's the thing. People are trying to do two things in real estate. They're either trying to sell or they're trying to buy. And when the market's going down, that's a great time to buy. When the market's going up, that's a great time to sell. And if you're selling in an up market, you have to buy in an up market. If you're selling in a down market, you have to sell in a down market. You can make better returns on selling in a down market and upgrading than you can just by then selling in an up market. So don't be worried about graphs that go down. And then sales volume helps you understand the supply equation. So if I'm thinking about selling right now, what am I selling into? How much competition am I likely to have? How much competition has there been there in the past? Am I going to be able to benefit maybe from, if there's not much by the way of sales or fewer sales, am I going to be able to sort of create my own competition? We've also got this section here of median prices so that readers can see comparative suburbs to you, or neighbouring suburbs. So they'll be able to see your suburb in context of the surrounding area. And that can be quite helpful because it can help you understand if you're looking to buy or sell in a suburb that is the premium suburb in the area, or if it's an upcoming suburb, or that where it sits kind of in the ladder of in the rankings. And this last little paragraph down the bottom will always default to this text, but you can change it and edit it. So if you've got specific information that you want to share with an individual seller or buyer, or you've got some specific, you can change the headline too, so you could put your own comments about the local market into there if you wanted. And when you use the HomePreso platform, your photo and your contact details and your logo go onto every page and brand it, and the colours in some of in the report on the headings changes to your branding colour. Now, the thing about reports is that the statistics, if agent number 1 downloads a report, creates a report for, say, Ponsonby, and it's about the only suburb I know in Auckland, and then agent number 2 does the same report, those reports will be the same unless you customise them. So what we really recommend that you do is that you customise that front cover photo, and that also you customise these recent sales. Now, in the reports, you can create up to 3 pages of recent sales, and you can choose the ones that are just your sales if that's what you want to do. You can choose sales that are only from your agency, as long as they're sitting inside the REINZ system. You can't upload sales from your own CRM at the moment. They will all have a little watermark on the photos because they're coming through the REINZ system. But if you don't want to, or you're a new agent and you don't have a lot of sales in the local area, it will simply show general sales from the area, and you can choose edit them in or out. And there is a demo link that we're sharing as part of this at the end. So that's, yeah.
Sorry, just really quickly, there was one question about the sales page you're on now. Charlotte asking if there are any privacy issues showing properties that aren't your own listings, because these are sales results, Charlotte, so and they're settled sales, so we're not showing any unconditional sales in these reports, and so there's no issues with having sales that aren't your own in these reports. We do also, it's actually not on this screenshot, but in the report that you'll access, the title does indicate that it's all market sales, not just your own. So we make that quite obvious in the report.
Yeah. I think that's a great point too, is that we do have, again, the date that the property sold. So if the market, and those, because they are settled sales, sometimes there's a little bit of a lag in the data. So if you feel like the market is really racing ahead or in a change position, you've got that date again to refer to, that that this is what was achieved on this date, and since this time we think the market has done X. And that's where your opinion and your expertise as an agent really comes to the fore, and you can use it as a sort of conversation starter. So that's what the reports contain, and the information that's in them. So what should you be doing with them? Well, I think you should be doing what best practice is being done. And this is what we see from top performers across our research at Occupied and how they're using content. So they use it to inspire and motivate. So they use it as a schedule as part of their month when they're going to create some content that is they're going to put out to the market and create conversations. So they're really looking to create a connection. It's a reason to reach out to people. They use it to really inform and educate. So I'm sharing this report with you, Bill, because that conversation, you're really interested in the market at the moment, and if you'd like to follow up with a call about how the market's performing, don't hesitate to call. They use them to answer questions anonymously. So all of those questions at the start, you can't answer every single question every single buyer and seller has got through your telephone. So having them available either online or to hand out or to download. A lot of the questions that people have about the market are answered through the reports. So it helps filter people that when they do reach out to contact you, they're even more qualified. It's a great way we see top performers using reports like these to drive their social media engagement. So turning the report, 4 pieces of information of the report into a social media post and then making it available once a week and targeting those audiences to try and drive engagement. And they use it to capture more clicks and engagement with email. So making the reports available through your email, whether that's with ActivePipe or another system, that's fine. But when people click and download the report, that's an intention signal. And so basically people should be going sort of up the ladder of who that you should contact them if they're engaging a lot with your content. Now, one of the awesome things about the reports too is that they're not just, you can print them out, and if you do print them out, remember, don't put 3 pages of sales results in, otherwise you'll have an uneven number of pages. But because you can't, it's weird to have a 5-page report. But you also get like a digital landing page, and this is what they look like. Your photo appears here, your contact details are here. I'm going to click on this and see if it works, if I've got enough juice in my hotspotting phone in the cafe. Yep, all good. Here it comes. So you can use this link here to share as part of your social media, or you can use this link also in any email marketing. So this shows you the report that we built. It's got 2 pages of these, and then it's got Nathan's details with my contact, which is a little bit backwards, but that's just us building it quickly. So you can share this link and make it available on Facebook. So good Facebook practice is, of course, that you would take the link out after you'd shared it, but this is what the tile looks like when you build it. And I just wrote like a little social media post that I created. I get asked a lot about the local market in Ponsonby, how it's performing, get the latest statistics by downloading this free report. Now I could pull out individual statistics and say, did you know the median sales price in Ponsonby is X? Like, download the report to find out more. There's lots of ways you can pull info out of the report and then share that link and they'll be able to download it. Now, obviously I've done something very clever here and haven't checked my transitions. So agents and digital marketing. Now in this report around digital marketing best practice, what we did actually get a lot of response from New Zealand agents. So we know that 81% of agents in New Zealand feel that getting their digital marketing right is really important as part of their success. But 44% of Kiwis rate their digital marketing skills as good or average. Now that compares to about 46% of Australian agents who said that their skills were good or excellent. So what we see is that confidence levels around digital marketing in New Zealand are lower than Australia, and in fact Australia's confidence levels around digital marketing are not great anyway. So while we all know that we need to be doing a lot more in digital marketing, we don't know how to do it. What we saw in the data generally, is that 22% of agents automate how they handle their social, or how they handle their digital marketing, while about 1/3 of us have someone specifically in our offices who just does that. And as agents generally, we're only spending about 7 hours a week on social media. Now, I don't know if people were maybe, it's a little bit like the when you get asked by a doctor, how much alcohol do you drink in a week? And you kind of always downplay it a bit. Or maybe that's just me. But that seems to be a really low number. And then 81% of us think that social media is effective for branding. So what do all these numbers mean? Why do we care? What it tells us is that we're not very confident at digital marketing. We don't really know what we're doing. And we're kind of just hoping if we play with it enough, we'll be able to make it'll sort of work. But what we found in our research is that that's not the case, and we need to be intentional around digital marketing. We need to be using it for the specific purposes of creating relationships, growing leads, staying in connection, making our lives easier. This is how confident we are. You can see only 53% of us think we're any good at email marketing. 52% think we're good at Facebook, even though we only do it once a week or an hour a day. Our websites are really need some love. And then Instagram, Google Ads, LinkedIn and SEO are really quite poor. Now, you don't need to specifically yourself be great at all of these things. The questions that we asked in the report was, how confident are you that these things are set up in your business to be driving leads for you? And you can see that we're really not very strong at it at all. So we really don't know what we're doing. We need a lot more focus, and as a profession, we're tending to chase the shiny buttons rather than putting the puzzle pieces together. And I guess even though we've built these amazing reports with REINZ and we think they're awesome, I want you to see them as one thing that is part of your marketing strategy overall, not the next thing to just try, and then if that doesn't work, move on to it. Like, it's actually part of a bigger picture. So let's now take a quick look at what that bigger picture should do. So, what do top performers do? Well, when we asked our top performers, we found that they had good or excellent digital marketing skills. So their skill level was significantly higher than our general agents. But what they did that was really different to anybody else in digital marketing is that they had a strategy and they had someone responsible for it. They were more likely to have someone who was specifically responsible for marketing, and they had KPIs around that. So as a result, they were a lot more confident at digital marketing. They were a lot more confident that their website was doing the work that it was supposed to do. And a lot of them used content to connect. So they're using blogs, they're using videos, they're using reports. So this is the stuff that we see top performing agents doing. And when you compare them to the general numbers, this is where we need to be heading. And this is where we're trying to get to. This is a bit of a sort of vomit of green, but it's this eternity loop where we're trying to basically capture people's details and find out what they're interested in or find out what their questions are. We want to be able to, and we should be driving people into our website. We want to be keeping them up to date. We want to be automating that engagement so it's not driving us completely crazy. We want to have it set up, the automation set up so that it's recognizing what people are into, whether they're trying to buy right now, whether they're thinking of buying in 3 months' time, whether they're thinking of selling in 2 months' time, whether they're thinking of selling in 12 months' time. We want to be able to recognize those preferences and make sure we're not driving them crazy by just ringing them all the time. We want to be able to capture their attention. We want to be able to engage them as an audience and track behaviour. And we want to do that across both new clients, and we want to do that across past clients. And we want to be able to sort of drive that behaviour across our social media and our email marketing into our website. And you want to drive people into your website to get those permissions happening so that you can then stay in touch with them, because you don't have any, like, social media is rented media, website is ideally owned media, and your email marketing is definitely your owned media with permission to contact. So it's even stronger. So you really want to use those two things on the left-hand side to drive into your email so that you can then drive those conversations yourselves. So what do top performers understand about digital marketing? Well, they understand that there's 3 stages of engagement. I just realised why I did my things that way. They understand there's 3 stages of engagement, and those stages are awareness. So this period of never having heard of you at all, they don't know, they're not in, they've owned their house for 40 years and they don't need to know about an agent, to being aware of you, to moving down to they might need your services. They're sort of thinking about it. Maybe I'll get a bathroom renovation. Maybe I'll sell the house. I'm not quite sure. To having met you, because they've gone from that period of online research and they've started to check out the open homes, or they've picked up the phone and they've called you, and then they're starting to engage with you and becoming a raving fan. So those 3 stages are awareness, interest, and transaction. And when we overlay what happens in marketing with them, we see that the communications that we're having at that top part of the funnel are one-to-many. So I want to be able to create a piece of content. I want to be able to share that with as many people as possible, people who've never heard of me, but also people who are aware of me. And you can do that really effectively through social media and targeting. One to some. So they might need your services. They've met you, they're interested in you. So now that you've got more permission to reach out to them, or they've started to signal that they're interested in you, you want to be able to have specific information that you can share with some of them. And then one-to-one is when you're really on the phone and you're dealing with their specific issue, their specific sale, and that conversation is really strong, and you're their agent. Now, they also understand, top performers also understand that the intensity of that communication really depends on the urgency. So at this level, they're not really interested in you. They're not going to want to hear from you that often. You'll probably stay in their inbox and not necessarily be opened, or you'll be in their social media and they won't click or like it. It's, you know, you can't expect a lot of engagement at that top level, but remembering that we're funneling them down. Whereas sort of when we get to this one-to-one, yeah, they want to hear from you straight away because they've got a question. And top performers understand about digital marketing that they don't want to be a weirdo stalker with commission breath. And let's explore what that looks like. When you prospect for leads, not relationships, you go from this area of never having heard of you. And we get told a lot in real estate, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to call complete strangers and ask them if they'd like to sell their house. And that doesn't really work. So, you know, if they go straight from never having heard from you to, I want to sell your house. It's like, this is crazy. I just met you, but can I sell your house? When you do that, this is what you look like. You're like that weirdo guy on Tinder that is the kind of awful stalker that just behaves really badly. Like, I've met you, you want to root. No, I don't. So please don't do that. We're all about warming people up. Apologies if I'm offended, I'll get rid of that slide. How do top performers use social media? So they use it to attract attention and build awareness. They use it to identify really early engagement signals and to build upon audience insights. They want to push you towards their website and email connection. They want to get you away from being a complete stranger. They want to get you into the known territory. How fast that goes is really up to the person, up to the client themselves. But they also want to use it to promote their community connection. So if you're doing stuff in your local community, you should definitely be sharing all of that on social media and then targeting the audience that that's going to your local suburb so that people can see that you're helping out with the local school by doing the fundraising auction, that you've got a movie night, like all the things that you're doing, or that your favorite coffee spot is, you know, Joe's Cafe. Share all of that sort of stuff on social media to build that awareness level to help people understand what you're doing. How do top performers use email marketing? Well, they use that to nurture relationships by showing the value that they have in being connected. Like they say, well, you've used us or we've met before. Let me share some information that you'll find valuable. They use it really cleverly to deliver really personalized services and experiences to more people. Now, it's as easy as anything to send a monthly email about how the market's performing, but there are great ways that you can set up your email so that it recognizes that if you are a buyer in the market right now looking for 3-bedroom homes, you only see 3-bedroom homes when you open up the email. And in fact, you get the opportunity to say, yes, I want to see off-market homes, or I want to see, you know, the latest stuff as it comes. So that can deliver a much more personalized experience. They use it, top performers use email marketing to automate and deliver consistent information regularly. So not kind of one thing 1 month and another thing another, or a gap of 3 months and then they get back into it. They use it to get it automated. They put, you know, dates in their diary. They have structures and processes in place to get consistent information out regularly. They use email marketing, especially the back end of it and the dashboards, to identify the engagement and understand who to focus on for leads. So not just sort of call everybody this month, but actually these people have done this behavior. They're more interested. I'm going to spend my time with them. And they also use it to provide insights into what's working and what isn't. Because look, sometimes we try these experiments in social media, in digital marketing, and they don't always work, but it's good to know that quickly. And it's good to kind of, you know, pivot when it happens. So it's a great way to test stuff. And finally, how do top performers use their website? Well, they recognize that their website is a 24/7 shopfront. So it's the shopfront that's always open, that you can always browse through. They have tracking pixels to keep track of who's visiting and what people are doing on their site, so they can see where the most engagement is happening. Because remember, every engagement signal is actually an intention signal. And they post all of their listings on their site, and they share their contents as blogs because they want their website to be a source of truth. And what we see the top performers also doing is that they post their listings onto their website first, and then they will share them with the portal. And often they'll have like a week or so as a gap between that time, so that they can share those listings first with their email newsletter or their email list of buyers, so that when you sign up to become on their buyer list, you're basically getting early access to the new listings. And they create landing pages to drive engagement, because landing pages are a great way to get specific engagement. So here's, we're coming towards the end. Here's what we see if we match those stages of engagement to our marketing channels. Now, I'm just going to double check that so handouts. So I've popped handouts onto this as well, because it's not just digital marketing, it's all marketing. Obviously, your handout could be your REINZ Local Suburb Guides. So never having heard of you, social media, as we start to move down, portal ads, Google ads, because Google ads can be targeted when people have looked at keywords, listings and handouts. And then basically you're growing the content that you're changing your communication method, and you're changing the sorts of information that you're sharing. What we see in digital marketing is that we get told as agents, you need to do blogs, you need to do video, you need to do social media, you need to do, Instagram. It all gets mixed up. There are channels, which are the ways that you share the information, and then there's the information, the content that you share. So keep those two things separately, but look at how you can put the content into the different channels to get the best results for driving leads, creating relationships. One to many, one to some, one to one. I'm just going to pop this slide up for a minute because it's very information rich, and it's probably one to read afterwards. But what we've done in this, and it's actually part of one of the scalable agent report, where we basically break it all down. So this is your customer journey. This is where their heads are at. This is the channel that you're looking at. And then again, just a quick overview of the kinds of content that you can share with people in those different channels at that different stage of the customer journey to help target it. And this probably feels like an awful lot of information that you're supposed to do together. Once again, want to reiterate, make someone in your business responsible for creating the strategy or coming up with the strategy, work with them on the strategy, and make it their job to help support you through creating your digital marketing, because there's a lot of stuff to do as part of this, and it requires a lot of consistency. So having someone in your team that looks after it for you can be the first step, because here's what we see the most important things you can do. Before you do your strategy, do a bit of an audit. Where are we at the moment? What do we think's working? What do we think's not working? Where do we think our gaps are? What are we doing to grow leads and relationships? Are they working the way that we want? Grab your team, have a morning full of, donuts and coffee or whatever, and just whiteboard everything, lots of post-it notes. Then develop a strategy to fill those gaps and nominate someone in your team who's going to be responsible for executing it, and make sure they've got time to learn the things that they need to do, break it into small, smart goals, create a structure around how they're going to make improvements every month and every quarter. Don't expect them to fix everything, from day one. And then what you need to do is dedicate time each quarter to reassessing those goals, using your dashboards to see what's working, what's not working, monitoring progress and training, and just taking a couple of hours once a month and once a quarter to reflect on what you've achieved and what now needs to be tweaked and adjusted again, can really see you make significant improvements in just a couple of months. And in 12 months, you will not know yourself. So look, we would love to help at Home Preso and ActivePipe. I've put all of the links here to the REINZ info page, the FAQs, because a lot of the questions we get are very similar. So we've popped them into there. There's a demo. It's of me in a hotel room somewhere in Melbourne, I think. It feels a little bit that the internet is dodgy, but it's fine. I've got another page after this with all of the reports that we've quoted, which are the Scalable Agent and Digital Marketing in Real Estate, which is the Skill Gap Report. And if you are an ActivePipe customer and you would like help integrating the REINZ Local Suburb Guides into your ActivePipe account, please reach out to our success team. So here's the resources, and I'm going to hand over to Nath for any questions.
Cool, thanks, Kylie. I'm going to turn my video on too because I've had it off just to save some bandwidth while we were going there. But most of the questions we've actually been answering as we go through. So I did want to call out just a few of them to, I guess, answer for everybody in case you haven't had a chance to check out the Q&A section and read some of those answers yourselves. So a few questions around the statistics and the timing and things like that. So just wanted to call out that this is a settled sales report. And so the recent sales area is using the settled sales from REINZ. And also the statistics that are used are a rolling 12-month median price, not just the last month, and they're based on residential sales. So we don't currently support rural or the lifestyle type properties in those as well. So in some of the more regional areas, we have had some feedback around that as well. So just wanted to call those out. In terms of timing, they are updated through to the Home Prezo, the Local Suburb Guides pages as soon as they're released from REINZ. So once you see your email from the REINZ team to say that the stats are updated for the month, they'll be available in our system as well. There's no delay there. And so I believe, Gloria, that was done yesterday. So
yeah, it was, Nathan.
Using the system this week, you'll have the latest data that you've got access to. Let me just see if there's any other questions that we can talk about.
I think that's a great point though too, Nath, because one of the questions that you and I know we've been asked the most through Home Prezo is, but if the data's 12 months old, is it the latest data? And it always is, because it's a rolling 12 months. So the problems that we have if we just showed you the data for the last month is that gets really volatile, because data becomes stable the more results that you have in it. And so if we just showed you the month, the graphs would go like that. But when they're rolling 12 months, you're actually seeing the changes over the 12 months and the data becomes a lot more stable. You want stable data because stable data is calm data that keeps people calm about what's happening in the market. It's very rare when data is annualized that it starts to, go too crazy. So yes, you can see like what happened in May compared to what happened to June is different, but you've got 12 months of sales sitting behind that rather than just like a handful of sales. And if we did do just 1 month of sales, there would be a lot less suburbs that we would be able to cover, because they just don't sell that much in a year.
Yeah, perfect. Great point. I did have a few questions about where to get help from and how to access help if you do need it. So when you're logged into the system, there's a help button in the top right hand corner that opens up our FAQs and help section. Really beautifully curated by Kylie as well. There's a lot of screenshots and training videos and a lot of step-by-step help in there. So that's a really great resource because it will take you step-by-step with screenshots on what to do. So that's a really great place to start. And then if you are still having trouble or you've got a specific question about a particular area that you're working in or a particular report that seems to be showing something funny, you can email that through to support@homeprezo.com, which is also available in those links in the help area. And then the support team will be able to follow that up with you directly. For any of the guys who are ActivePipe customers, there is a plugin or I guess an add-on that can be added to your ActivePipe account that makes it drag and drop for you to bring any ActivePipe, any of your local market guides into your ActivePipe emails. So we then take care of bringing in the thumbnails and the linking and everything like that for you. So it's a nice, really easy way to send your local suburb guides on email. I'm just trying to bring up a quick demo of that on my screen. Oh, I'm not sharing, sorry. It wasn't the main goal for today, but I think we're getting towards the end of the session. So I will quickly show you how that works. And I apologize if you can see all of my windows and things. But if you were in a email. I hope I've got it turned on in this particular account. I do, perfect. So when you're in your Active Pipe editor and you've got your Local Suburb Guide account connected, so that can be done through the Active Pipe support team. Just send them a message and let them know you'd like to have your Home Prezo account connected. You'll have a new button in the editor on the right hand side there for Home Prezo, so you can then just drag that on, and when you go in to choose the content here, you'll be linked to all of your existing Local Suburb Guides, and you can simply choose the one you want to include in your report, and that gets added for you. So that's a really quick and easy way to send these Local Suburb Guides on email if you are an Active Pipe customer.
Just want to really thank you guys for extending the trials for everyone who attended. That is just primo. Yeah, so if you have sort of any questions about this, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I think Nathan mentioned where you could get sort of support through Home Prezo, but you know, it is a REINZ supported product, so if you know, if you're stuck and you can't figure out where to reach them, just get in touch with REINZ and we'll put you in the right direction. But yeah, it's an amazing product and we're really happy to be supporting it.
Great, thanks everybody.
Awesome. Thanks
for coming
guys,
today.
see you.